Hello and welcome, TBU fans. My name is Jade Hexon. With me today is the one, the only one, Cito Marvell. Say hello.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope your week was fantastic.
So, welcome back to the third week of our weekly recap. We managed to both be here like 1 week in a row. We made one official combo, so
He's
it's like
he's not gonna let me up on this.
fantastic.
He's not gonna let me on this
Yeah,
whatsoever. No.
yeah.
Okay.
Well. This time it'll be one. It'll be like an amazing show because we actually managed to show up 2 weeks in a row. So, without further ado, do you have anything to say before? Oh, of course, other than checking out the description, we should have the playlist by the time this is uploaded at the very least. Uh, but aside from that, check out all the coaches, check out the playlist, check out everybody. They're awesome. Anything you got to say before we get into this?
I am perfectly fine, my man. Let's just get right into this.
Okay, to start it off for our first match, we do have the Birmingham Spritzy coached by Alex or Onesie Bennett up against the Miami Delfinis coached by Baby Eye or Sinister Sableye. And we're going to end up with a 3-0 victory and with a very interesting kill count. You see this Fortress over here. He's packing knives and he got 3 kills.
I am very happy to see that. On the Spritzy side, we do have that Fortress rocking 3-0. We have the Slowbro rocking 2-1 this week. We have Tapu Koko only at 1-0. And then Ditto, Chestnut, and the Mega Beatrill. And on for the Miami Delfini side, we have Rotom Wash, we have Hitmontop, we have Per Ugly, Jirachi, Mamoswine, and the Salazzle. This is one of those games I just sat back and said this was a good game, but I really would not want to be in the player's shoes whatsoever. Hearing Alex's side saying this went down to the 3-minute mark.
Yeah, that got really down to the teeth as far as that game went. Ditto actually, even though Ditto doesn't have anything on the scoreboard, it did a lot of cool things. Like it spread wishes around, it got a lot of information.
Yes.
It was really unfortunate that that Baby Eye's Salazzle and Mamoswine, which was intended to be his primary offensive core, ended up doing not that much.
They died. They died very fast.
Props to that. It was max physically defensive assault vest Slowbro, so like that was like you can't. It's very hard to calc for that. Or max, yeah, like that Salazzle, like he thought he had it, but max phys def assault vest Slowbro like breaks through and kills it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how Mamoswine died. I think it switched into something.
No, Mamoswine, what happened was that it went for the knockoff onto the Fortress. Was holding an Ockerberry, so luckily Fortress didn't need that. As the Fortress went for the Gyro Ball.
Oh yeah,
and assuming it was Scarf.
Gyro Ball.
Yeah, assuming it was so that thing went down immediately.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, basically, like Fortress did a lot of work. There was a point where all he had to break the Fortress was the Perugly. He lost his Mamoswine, he lost his Salazzle, and like what after you lose the Salazzle, it's very hard to break that Fortress. So
yeah, the last
and
three
it ended up just picking up all those kills.
Yeah, the last 3 mons that Alex had were the Fortress, the Tapu Koko, and I believe the Ditto. At that point, so it was at one point or another he had to deal with the lesser of the threats, and unfortunately he could not break through Fortress like you said. Ditto was just going to keep on wish passing into Tapu Koko if Fortress went down, if he got up and if he was able to imposter the Jirachi, but well played honestly for Alex and not like losing his cool once his Mega Beedrill went down to the Scarf Per Ugly frustration. Yeah, that's one thing for sure.
I think this is really goes to show like Alex had a really cool prep coming in. The pseudo offensive Fortress, the max defense Slowbro with Assault Vest. Unfortunately, the Beedrill got super bopped by the Scarfed Perugly. He ran double Scarfers this week, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because I think Mammoth was Scarfed as well. And the Ditto was also just really well played in general. He gets a lot of wishes from when he brings that Ditto, and got a lot of information too.
Yeah, Ditto was really the clutch player for this week for just being able to scout out things. But from this match, I think that was the biggest highlights that we had so far. Are we ready to move on in that case?
Yeah, I think we've already spent enough time on this match. So let's go into our next match, which is going to be the Harlem Gloomtrotters going up against the Tennessee Dynamos. So Kyle versus Ethan. We said last week that this was going to be a super duper amazing awesome match. Ended up being a 95% Ice Fang miss, leading to a Dragonite sweep. That was gonna be a very interesting match.
Like Ethan said, if it came down to missing 5% Ice Fang, this is the game that we play. It's ridiculous that you get that 5% chance of missing out of the 95. But up to that point, it was still a great game, and it was still anyone's game up to that point as well, I'd say.
I think once if Aerodactyl killed Dragonite, I don't think Ethan really could recover because we did have the Megalop outsped, and
Yeah,
I don't think it could KO.
actually, you are correct on that. But then, in that case, then that really mattered a lot, and Pokemon.
Yeah. Unfortunate. It was cool seeing Ethan bring the Aqua Jet Dragon Dance Dragonite. That was cool because it wouldn't have outsped the Aerodactyl, so he got the couple bits of damage in before with the Aqua Jet. Unfortunately, he managed to dodge an Ice Fang, so he managed to get the 2-hit KO with the Aqua Jet. But I mean, it's a game we play. Cal probably not overly too happy about that loss, but at least it was only 0-2. Unfortunately, it was a divisional game, but they're both looking fairly strong in general.
Oh, definitely. Kyle is still an amazing player, and like you said, if it wasn't for that 5% chance, Kyle would have had that game in the bag. And we can only just hope for cleaner games. It's all we hope for, clean games here in the TBU.
Clean games showcase your skills, exactly.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there's not much to say about this game.
It's pretty much straightforward.
Yeah. So let's. I think there was a little bit of a speed game between the Heatran and the Scizor, but that was about.
Yes, I believe
Kyle
Kyle.
to creep it.
Yeah, Kyle managed to get the creep right, and I just want to say also to Ethan, just be careful with Landorus. Even though it usually tends to run special, mixed sets are common. Physical sets are common as well, so just be aware that Landorus can be that mon that can do anything, just for the future.
Yeah. Landorus is a good Pokemon. Tip to take home. So let's take up to our third game. I think that's going to be the Houston Toxapexians versus the Portland Timbers. Trev pulling off a 4-0. I don't remember this game all too fondly, so if you wouldn't mind picking up my slack.
Yeah. So what basically happened here was first of all, let's just talk about what they were bringing. The Toxapexians brought the Scolipede, Porygon 2, Blastoise, Registeel, Kyurem Black, and Musharna, while the Timbers brought Electivire, Tapu Fini, Mienshao, Zygarde 50, Darmanitan, and regular Aerodactyl. And from this match, it was pretty much a clean game for the Toxapexians, for the fact that they had their switch-ins correct in terms of the Musharna being able to wall the Mienshao, Porygon 2 completely eating up Banded 1,000 arrows from the Zygarde 50%, and just Mons being nuisances when they need to be. Unfortunate that Kyurem Black couldn't pick up the KO onto the Tapu Fini and with a Z Sub-Slammer, but I honestly enjoyed this game watching it because it was just good play from the Toxapexian side, and with Scolipede picking up 4 kills, not because it did the damage, was because of the Toxic Spikes.
Yes, a lot of hazard damage spread across the board. Tapu Fini is a great wall, happens to be very vulnerable to whittling, and also Trev just had. I remember Trev's game. He just had switch-ins for everything, and there was no point where he really felt shook about really anything that the Portland Timbers could do.
Yeah, and this is where we see, even though it's week 3, this is where we start seeing the divisions in the skill of play. Unfortunate to say, but
yeah, this is a very big divisional win for the Toxapexians.
Definitely,
especially competing against L5. So let's go into our next game, I think.
Yeah.
Do we really have anything else to say about this game?
No, I think I'm good. I'm good from this match, yeah.
Okay, so let's go into our fourth game, which is going to be the Meat Mamoswines versus the Welchions. We got Potato Jim bringing the Garchomp, the Roserade, the Skarmory, the Jolteon, the Gastrodon, the Victini up against the Welchions' Cobalion, Skuntank, Mega Gardevoir, Shaman, Arcanine, and the Emboar. Now, this match was pretty interesting for a couple reasons. One, I thought Jim had that matchup hands down.
Yeah.
And also he's had that momentum from the first 2 weeks. It was very interesting to see Old Man Frito pulling out that win. Cobalion got a lot of kills in this match. I think it was just it wasn't like a sweep. He just picked up little bits along the way.
It was basically he was picking up the leftovers after the Mons were just whittled down to all extremes. And this is where I'd say was one of the points of too much switching is bad and just relying on a single mon, because I remember seeing
Gastrodon got so much pressure, right?
Yeah,
Or he was relying on a lot on Gastrodon.
Yeah, at points where he should have been recovering, he was protecting, and points where he should have been switching out to other mons such as Skarmory or the Chomp itself, Gastrodon was just staying in. It just got whittled too quickly. That would have been great walls for said Cobalion, said Skuntank, said Emboar as well. Even though it had the potential to get Grass Knot, it once you know if it has it or not, it's still also a great wall. But that's I think one of the big things that Jim will learn from this week.
Yeah, he played a little bit too passively, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
he played his Gastrodon really, really safe. He protected a lot.
Yes.
Wasted a lot of turns when Frito was just switching in momentum. I think he got into Shaman a lot.
Yes, from that.
Was this the game where he brought the Tailwind on the Shaman?
Yes, this is the game. Yes.
He brought like a very slow Tailwind Shaman. I think it ended up getting outsped by the Rose Raid anyway.
Yeah, that actually was pretty funny to see, actually, to be honest. But it was interesting for Frito to bring both Tailwind and Trick Room, if I heard correctly from his side.
It was very interesting to see this game from Frito's perspective. Yeah, he had I think it was Min Speed Shaman that was Tailwind, something like that. Yeah, and then the Gardevoir had Trick Room, possibly. I think that's the only one who could bring Trick Room, or the Shaman learned Trick Room.
I'm not sure, actually. I need to.
Let's not fact check. Let's just say congrats to Frito for the win.
Honestly, it was still a great game to watch. Even it was again one of those clean games that it just came down to decision making. That was the general factor, I guess, for this match.
Yeah. Jim played it a little too passive. I think Jim had that matchup hands down, but unfortunately, his Victini didn't do much. Gastrodon ended up getting not enough pressure that it should in this matchup, being how defensive it is. But yeah, and Frito will be at the beginning to recovering his season. Going 1-2 is great momentum. Maybe he'll recover his season.
Maybe.
And yeah.
Remember, he's still the old man. He has to shake off that rust.
Oh yeah, he's starting to shake off the rust. His prep was cool at the very least. I don't know if it was optimal, but it definitely was interesting to see. So, are we done with this game? Do you have any more comments?
Yeah, I'm good from this game.
Moving on to our next game, we do have the Oakland Rose Raiders, coached by King L5, up against the Pittsburgh Pyroar, coached by Slyro. And as you can see, the King has lost his crown to the Pittsburgh Pyroar. Slyro probably showing off his very first game coming into his prime. His prep was really on point.
Yes.
Let's recap the Pokemon. He does have that Garbodor, Cofagrigus, Corsola, Landorus, Therian, Latios, and the Infernape up against Sly's Crocodile, Volcanion, Vaporeon, Uxie, Mega Mawile, and Sarina. And as I alluded to in the past, Sly's prep was finally back in business. He prepped a little bit too defensively early on. Now he's really had a really cool prep for this match, and it really paid off. If you want to go into it a little bit.
Two of the mons that we really have to highlight for this week were the Mega Mawile, for the fact that they took out the Latios with the Sucker Punch early in the game, allowing, honestly, for Vaporeon, Scarf Vaporeon to be said, to just dominate, put the offensive pressure on the mons that needed to be, just such as catching L5 off guard and with the Ice Beam onto the Landorus Therian, just taking it out of the game immediately, and making L5 just reconsider his strategies to the point where he said, I'm conceding defeat at this point.
Basically, yeah. As we said before, L5 was perfectly fine exchanging the Latios for the Mega Mawile, which was basically what he set up to +1 comp mine. He ate the hit with the Colbert and then killed the Mega Mawile basically 1-for-1. But then he lost his Landorus to the surprise Scarf Vaporeon coming from the Pyroar, and once you lose both your Latios, your Calm Mind Latios, and your Z-move Landorus, and your last 4 Pokemon are Garbodor, Cofagrigus, Corsola, and Scarf Infernape, mind you, and your opponent has like Uxie, Vaporeon, Volcanion, lots of bulky offensive threats, and Crocodile, of course. You lose your power to kind of break through that team, and it just goes to show that if you come up with cool sets like Scarf Vaporeon and use them effectively, like Slyro has, you can definitely pull off wins even when you're in that negative space of 0-2.
Yeah, and this again just shows that Slyro hasn't lost his touch. She just needs to get back into the swing of things, and I just expect more for him. This is a great team that he has, and he just needs to start taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this Scarf Vaporeon was the start of something beautiful, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think we can move on from here. We're talking Earful from this battle.
Okay, so our final battle is gonna be Paul of the West Coast Wingles, our reigning champion, just to remind you, up against the Jersey Weavals, coached by Cloud, and Paul's 0-3.
Yes, Paul's 0-3.
Unfortunate. As you can see, Paul brought the Blaziken, the Mega Blastoise, the Ferrothorn, the Mew, the Zydog, and the Tyranitar up against the Celesteela, the Donphan, the Wigglytuff, the Sharpedo, the Celebi, and the Mega Gallade. Now, Cloud bought Trick Room.
Yes.
That was interesting. He brought Trick Room on the Gallade and the Celebi.
And just taking it from face value, this team does not look Trick Room whatsoever. Just taking it face value.
Did I forget to mention the physically defensive Rocky Helmet Ruskin Sharpedo?
Paul figured out that it was probably something like that when he didn't see the speed boost going on. So it was cool to see. It was really cool to see. But like I said, like if you went into Team Builder and you just saw the team preview phase, not Team Builder, but if you just saw this face value, this did not give whatsoever a value of Trick Room. Not at all.
Yeah.
So it really caught Paul off guard in the beginning and just had to shift his whole focus on what to do, especially with his setup Mew that he was trying to get off. And it just...
Yeah, he had Barrier and Amnesia on this Mew right here. He wanted to pass into the Tyranitar, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Tyranitar was his, like, ideal mon to pass into, yeah.
Yeah, and he ended up getting Mew really, really low. I forget what brought him so low.
It was the Z Supersonic Sky Strike.
He went for another barrier and then took a huge or something like that. He went for a barrier he went for a setup move instead of the roost and took a huge amount of damage from the Supersonic Sky Strike.
Yeah, which was the Air Slash, which is why the barriers did not count or matter at all.
Yeah, and then since he didn't heal, he kind of lost his primary. That was his primary win con, passing into Tyranitar, and then he basically had to rely on hitting 4 Scarf high jump kicks, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that was basically his win con, and unfortunately, the Blaziken was such a low health with that when he missed the last one. That was the game. That was it.
I wouldn't necessarily call that strictly hacks. We did the calcs after the game. He did hit 3 high jump kicks he hit 3 high jump kicks with his Scarf Blaziken. He played his end game relatively well, even though his early game was a little bit botched.
Yes.
But he played his end game relatively well, like pretty darn well as he could, considering what he lost. But yeah, Blaziken was his win con at that point. He went for 3 Scarf high jump kicks, hit 3 of them, and then Wigglytuff came out, terrified for its squishy pink life. Unfortunately, the Blaziken did miss the high jump kick. It was I think it was a 55% roll in Cloud's favor if it did manage to hit, so it wasn't necessarily like guaranteed kill if the high jump kick did hit.
It was just
you
a
need
numbers
a little
game
bit more luck.
It was
it was a numbers game, but the numbers game was not on Paul's side, and he ended up losing with 1-0. And it's as I said, it's kind of jarring seeing Paul enter his victory lap season 0-3. Cloud's actually been doing really well too. So this divisional match is kind of a shock to the system. Cloud is going to be leading this division 2-1. I think Slide just picked up his first win.
Yes.
Cloud could have easily been 3-0 as well.
Also, things happen. Things happen for a reason, my man.
Yes. Things happen for a reason, and that's because TBU does not like repeat champions.
No, that is not the reason. But I think we're going to go on to now the Week 4 fixtures, my friend.
Yeah, let's get into our next match. Our next week's matchups. We're going to start off with the Birmingham Spritzies up against the Jersey Weavals. Both teams coming off a win, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
so
that is true.
Cloud's looking to assert his dominance in the Ula division because, as you mentioned, Paul's really lacking behind with his surprising 0-3 start, and Alex is also looking to gain advantage of the momentum lost by Jim losing to Frito, and hopefully can pull off the climbing back to the top of this division with this win for the first time, unfortunately.
But no, this is going to be a very interesting match to see because, like you said, both teams just came off a win, and both teams have really strong teams to face up against each other. It will be very interesting to see this next match, and I really, really hope, again, clean game so we can see the skill of each of the coaches.
Yeah, that's basically all we hope for. We want to see skill, we want to see cool plays, we want to see cool prep. Hopefully, we will come out with a clean game. Let's move on to our next matchup. That is going to be the Harlem Gloomtrotters versus the Oakland Raiders. I will preface this game with the fact that Kyle is not going to be playing this week. He is going to be subbing.
Okay.
He's going to be substituting. He is out on summer vacation for, I think, this week and maybe next week. I'm not too positive on that.
All right.
But he will be substituting with Merc. Little Mr. Merc.
That's going to be a tough time for L5, that's for sure, because Merc has worked wonders with subbing teams. I think he's like 5-0 as a sub.
Yeah, he's like 5-0 being the substitute, so he gets that random sub buff.
It really is.
Interesting to
with
see.
that, I honestly have to give it to the Gloomtrotter. I feel like the Gloomtrotter are going to win the next week for sure. No offense to L5. No offense. But seeing Kyle's team this season and knowing how well the player Merc is, this is going to be a very rough time for L5.
Yeah, I think this whole vacation thing was just a ruse. He really didn't want to play L5 and get hacks turn 1 again.
Oh man, that mate, we will never know.
We will never know. I think he's just ghosting L5, just setting in the pinch hitter. And hopefully we'll see a really cool match between Merc and L5, and we'll have to see what happens from there. Both teams, I think, in second now after their losses. We'll have to see if they can pull out a random advantage from this very, very hard game to see. It's going to be very interesting to see what these coaches can come up with. Let's move on to our next match, because I'm kind of rambling at this point.
Yes.
We're going to go to the Miami Delfinis versus the Houston Toxapex, and I'm sorry, Davey, this is not your week.
This has not been a good season for our Baby I. This really has not been, and it's not going to get easier. I don't know how the next weeks are going to go, but it's not.
Yeah, I pray for you. I pray for your hopeful success. I really hope this is a good match, because at the very least, even though you did lose to the Birmingham Spritzy, that was a really cool match. At the very least, we expect we hope for a very cool match coming from this matchup versus obviously Trev's very, very scary team. Hopefully, you can pull out a win. But as we all know, Trev and his Houston Toxapex are very scary to face indeed.
Very much so, honestly. And I'm personally this is going to be a match to watch, maybe, just to learn a little bit, I feel.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I think by default, not siding with Trev is usually a mistake. So we'll have to see what will happen of this match. Let's go into our next match. That is going to be the Meat Mammoth Swines versus the Pittsburgh Pyroar. Slyro hoping to gain off his momentum.
I can't wait
from his winning King L5.
Personally, cannot wait.
Yeah, exactly. We want to see which Slyro comes to this match. If it's insane prep, cool Mon Sly, like we saw in that season 4 game versus Trev, like we saw versus this season's game versus L5, we're gonna have some fun because Jim really likes bringing cool Mons, and it's gonna be fun on the bun.
Again, they both have the potential to bring interesting sets, and I want to see some fireworks being blown off in this match from both sides. I just can't wait.
Is it time for Cottony?
I don't know, and I'm not ready. I am not ready.
Your body is not ready for the Cottony?
No, it is not.
We'll have to see what happens.
Yes.
Let's go into I think we might have 1 or 2 matches left. This is going to be the Tennessee Dynamos up against the Portland Timbers. Ethan 3-0 right now. I haven't really seen too much to put much faith in the Portland Timbers right now.
We love you, RTK, but yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to see if he can do it. It'll definitely be something to see if he can. Hopefully, we just have a clean match. We'll have to see. Hopefully, if Ethan can be the only undefeated team left. Is that correct? I think he's the only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the only undefeated team left in the season. Hopefully, we'll see if he. We'll have to see if he can carry out his perfect season. He got one of his hardest matches out of the way, unfortunately, due to a 5% ice bank. But we'll have to.
Bridge on,
We'll have
water
to-
on the bridge. Water on the bridge. We
Yeah,
are
water on
moving
the
on.
bridge.
That was last week. This is
Yeah.
this is going to be the upcoming week.
So
Yep.
let's just move on to our next match. Our final match? Was that our final match?
Now
I'm
we're
not
going to
too
go
sure.
into our final match into the Welsh Neons versus the West Coast Wingles. This,
Yes.
I feel like Paul hopefully will have a good game. Yes.
I mean, yeah. All we can hope for is a clean game, and hopefully Paul's team and Paul's skill can shine through. Maybe he can pull off his first win. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to see. Frito's coming into his team finally. He might have had all that rust shaken off, and if that is, this match is going to be very exciting to see. Hopefully, Paul can make it a very good game at the very least. At the very least, we want to give him the cleanest game possible. So
Yep. That's all we wish for. All we wish for in the TBU. But with that case, I think we are good for today.
yeah, I think that's going to be it from us. Do you have anything else to add?
Just again, leave a like and a comment down on this video. If you want to yell at us, coaches, you can yell at us down in the description. Fans, if you want to leave any comments or inquiries on how you think the teams went, also leave it down in the comment section. We love to hear feedback from you guys. And of course, I am the Juancito Marvel.
My name is Jid Hex, signing out, and we will see you next week for our weekly recap. Bye.